But let me go to Oyalowo on this one. Oyalowo, must we borrow? And are you concerned with the manner in which our debt profile has risen over the last 2 years? If you look at it, 2015, 2016, 2017, and yet we are borrowing more and more, and we're willing to borrow again under this government.
Well, at times when these kind of issues are pointed, you just want to smile and know that Nigeria really needs a lot of help. I mean, we had 16 years of unbroken wastefulness, destruction, and you cannot quantify the destruction that had gone on in the past 16 years. We keep hearing the largest economy in Africa. We keep hearing they brought in FDIs. We keep hearing a rebased economy. But you ask yourself, what kind of infrastructural development was put in place? As we speak, we have a huge infrastructural deficit that will require Nigeria to spend at least $45 billion annually if we are to meet up with the Millennium Goals development. Unfortunately, we don't even have that kind of money, because what do we have? We have ministers in the past who today, as we speak, just today, another 17 or 16 houses was forfeited by the immediate past Minister of Federal Capital under the PDP. We've had 56 houses and so many other billions forfeited by the Minister of Petrol under the past government. So what we had was nothing but 16 years of looting, of heist, of criminality, of where brigandage became an order of the day in the name of governance. So what we are doing right now is to clean up the mess of the past. It's unfortunate that we have to borrow to meet up our developmental plans. Look at it. As I talk to you today, you cannot drive from Abuja to Lagos because the roads are nothing but a death trap. There are no serviceable rails. There are no, our air infrastructure is dilapidated. So what are the borrowings for? 5 billion was planned to be, it's been planned to be borrowed. 3 billion out of it, dollars, will be used to service domestic debt because the rate of domestic debt is higher. International debt that we're taking is a bit cheaper. So 2 billion out of it will be used to finance the budget deficit, and most of this deficit will be in terms of capital infrastructure. The rails, we've already signed agreement and partnership with the Chinese companies to build rails, the Mambila Power Project, and so many other. So when you begin to complain that we have debt, you ask yourself, what are we borrowing for? Are we borrowing to pay salaries like they did under the former minister Oyalowo, or are we borrowing to finance project, capital project, expenditure that will be used to, that could, repay itself, also that will help in the development of our infrastructural system, such that you will now have economic activity that will be profitable to Nigerians. Because if you don't have roads, you don't have rails, you don't have anything, your economic activity will in no time be grounded to pieces. Look at it. Tomatoes being moved from the north to the south. Go through the route, you will see many of the trucks broken down on the road because of the bad road. That is why you find out that the price of tomato may be maybe 1,000 or 2,000 naira in Kano, but if you go to Lagos, the same quantity might be 10 or 5 times more in Lagos because it is difficult transporting this. So when you bridge this infrastructural deficit, you can begin to have better economic system. So when the PDP come and tell us what they have done in the past, you ask them, what legacy of infrastructure did you leave behind for the APC?
Thank you so much, everyone, and welcome back to the program. The issue of Nigeria's borrowings has gotten us talking, and it's raised a lot of attention of Nigerians. A lot of analysts, economic analysts and experts are already debating this issue, whether or not it's reasonable for us to increase the manner in which we keep borrowing. The federal government has come forward to say, look, we will be reasonable in the way and manner we manage these borrowings. But a lot of people have said, look, can we manage it? The PDP, the opposition, major opposition party in Nigeria, is saying the ruling APC is driving Nigeria to a debt disaster. Is that true? Well, we have two gentlemen who are discussing these issues. Both of them have some experience in economy and the issue of banking. Oyalowo is a former banker. Dr. Kachi Ononuju is an economist and a member of the PDP. Both of them giving us a sense of where we need to go. We may disagree, but don't forget, we are Nigerians. Let's get some sense into some of these issues. Let me come back to you, Mr. Oyalowo. Is it commonsensical, of course, to if you look at the rate at which we're growing? I mean, I'm very sure for anybody who has the experience of economy, we agree that we need to borrow to service a major capital-intensive infrastructure development in the country. But if you look at the way and manner in which we are borrowing and our growth rate, do you think the federal government should slow down?
Well, Sean, thank you for this question. If you look at the figure, our debt to GDP ratio is about 18.6%. That's about 19%. When we came out of recession, we started growing at 0.55%. South Africa grew at 2.5 or 2.2, thereabout. But their debt to GDP ratio, as we speak, is 40%. The America that we all love to talk about is 104%. Now, this is what they will not tell you. We are not borrowing irresponsibly. We are borrowing responsibly to fund capital expenditure. The budget is there. This borrowing will not be cash that will be stolen like it was stolen in the past. What we are going to be doing, it is clear. We have signed agreement. Most of these monies will go into counterpart funding of the major project, the rail project, the power project, and the road project. It is clearly spelled out in the current budget. And like we all know, it will be carried over should the budget not be completed by the cycle when this current year cycle is ended. So we are not talking about just borrowing like they did in 2013, 2014, where they borrowed and they stole everything, and today we are seeing them buying yachts and houses all over the world. We are borrowing to fund critical national infrastructure so that you and I will be able to do business unhindered. That's what we're talking about. Borrowing could be either responsible or irresponsible. What we've had in the past has been everything irresponsible, whether borrowing or national earning has been stolen. Now we are borrowing to fund critical assets of the country, so that we will have roads, we will have rails, our infrastructure will be in tandem with modern day economy. That is what we are talking about.
One thing perhaps you need to actually explain, or as a member of the APC, and the question is going to be whether or not you're just defending your party's stance in borrowing. But just a moment, if I may put this question to you, the fact remains that we need to rebalance our macroeconomic resilience is a major issue. Inflationary factor is there, and a lot of issues on whether or not we need to rebalance our economic portfolio such that our growth is reasonable compared to the rate at which you are borrowing. If you are borrowing and your earnings is still low, is that reasonable? That's a big question, isn't it?
That is why the diversification plan of the government kicks into place. You know, we are borrowing to fund critical infrastructure and assets. Now, you cannot say agriculture will be built upon when the farm, from the farm to the towns and the cities, there are no roads. Most of the goods will perish on the way. So those are some of the things we need to look at. Rails must work so that whatever thing we are bringing from the farms can find easy access. So we are not borrowing to build houses for people. We are borrowing to build roads. And you cannot have an economy when these infrastructure are not in place. So we need to think out of the box. We don't have the money because most of our our savings had been stolen in the past. Now we're just saving again because we are a mono economy before that depended on only one product, the price of which had plummeted in the international market. You have to fund the difference between your budget and the deficit.
Let me allow Mr. Kachi Ononuju here